Krishna Krishna Hare
Mala Krishna Hare Hare. Very interesting bhajan kirtan by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Quite innovative. Prabhupada was an innovative person, very prolific on many levels, not only writing, but also musically expert in the kitchen, an expert public speaker, an expert diplomat, excellent abilities to communicate with others and deal with others, even though he had a very complex situation that he created for himself after leaving Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. As Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was mentioning, the Prabhupada didn't have to leave that sacred place in Vrindavan and get on a boat and travel to America and start a movement with absolutely no facility except his desire to serve the order of his spiritual master. This is an amazing of a culture that we're in. And this is the idea with the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We're trying to stress this importance in our own spiritual practices. This is the problem that has taken place now, that somehow or other, some people are minimizing, either consciously or unconsciously, minimizing Prabhupada's position. And even when we stress it, they criticize us. Oh, this is the term that is used, fanatic. You're a Prabhupada fanatic. Well, that's not true. We are Prabhupada servants. We're servants of the spiritual master. That's our position here at this group, the Prabhupada Disciples Association. And we want to thank everyone on this Sunday morning here in Canada for joining us for the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading and discussion with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, our good friend and guide in our group. And before we get to that, we're going to continue on with our reading of the diary from Śrīla Prabhupāda from his early years. Someone keeps calling me just when I'm having a class, even though they've been told multiple times that we're busy every Sunday, Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 11:30 with all of our wonderful God brothers. We're at a very significant part in this reading of the diary, which is the stage where Prabhupada has come to the incorporation of the ISKCON movement. And we're seeing that this is an important part of organizing a mission. You have to have these particular documents in place with the local governments in order to facilitate operating within the legal structure of your locale where you are. It's very important. And Prabhupada understood that. And, it was his idea to do this. And then he gathered 11 people to sign on as trustees, you can see here. So what we're going to do is, it's a fairly detailed constitution. He calls it the Constitution of Association. So we're going to read that. I hope Venkat Bhatta Prabhu in Bangalore has this text that I sent him. Before the class, I photograph it with my phone and send it over. Amazing
Yes,
how
Prabhu, I just need a minute because I'm finding a better quality of it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, when you're ready, I'll be able to further discuss it, how we should see it. And the Constitution, it gives the platform. A lot of people think that an organization is important. It is in one sense in order to justify your position within the community that you live legally. You can't just take money and operate things, but there are rules that have to be followed. So Prabhupada was following these rules, and here we go. So the Constitution of Association, and we can read it. I'll read it out for us, and then we can just meditate on this later during the day, Vijay Pandit, and you get an idea of what your position in Italy will be, how you want to operate. And then we're laying out a constitution right now from ours here based on the current situation, which incorporates a lot of these principles. So it's a combination of things. The name of the society is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The headquarters of the society are located at Radha Krishna Temple, 26 2nd Avenue, New York City, 10003 USA. So he's calling it a temple. Well, a temple can be a small storefront. Doesn't have to be a large constructed building. But he's giving us this insight, how we should treat what we're doing. The objective for which the society is being established are as follows: to educate the greater human society in the techniques of spiritual life as the basis for a balanced psychic and biological development, and thereby achieve for the first time in human society a real peace and unity among the contending forces in the world today. Wow. B, to propagate the sense of Godhead, the all-attractive personality of primeval and eternal form, as he himself revealed in his own words in the Bhagavad Gita, the holy scripture of the Lord Sri Krishna, the Godhead. C, to bring together individuals in a society regardless of nationality and irrespective of creed or caste, in order to develop a nearness to the Godhead, and thereby the idea that within the members and humanity at large there is an infinitesimal spirit soul that is part and parcel in quality with the Godhead, and that all life is meant for the satisfaction of said Godhead, the Supreme Soul. D, to encourage the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who demonstrated practically the transcendental process of approaching the absolute personality of Godhead by his acts of congregational chanting of the holy name, a process known as Sankirtan. E, to prove by active work and preaching that Lord Sri Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the outcomes of individual and collective sacrifice, penance, meditation, arts, culture, science, because he is the supreme proprietor of the whole universe, eternally part of his. Everyone knows him as a friend. Real peace can be attained when this is revealed in fact. To assist whenever and wherever possible in the building of a social structure on the real foundation of spiritual progress and establishment of peace and unity between men throughout the world. G, to attempt to save man individually from the chain of victimization the ongoing trend in modern civilization operates by in the name of the ideologies of false sentiment, so that man may again be a free soul to set and live freely with spiritual vision. This is possible by individual spiritual initiation, diksha. When a man can see everything in Godhead and Godhead in everything. Extraordinary vision. H, to further toward realization, this highest truth as revealed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis, headed by Śrīla Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. I, to have for its objective amongst the others four principles which the Goswamis had in view, they are following. 1, to erect a holy place of transcendental pastimes as well as a place where members of the Lord Sri Krishna can flourish. 2, to propagate all over the world in the form of missionaries the process of devotion, the transcendental service to the Godhead, and to make known that this devotional service is the main function of the human being. 3, in order to accomplish this, to adopt proselytizing methods of peaceful means and to establish a broader society of association for all members, including scholars and admirers, to engage in this service as put forth in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 4, to install wherever it is possible the worship and temple of Radha Krishna and that of Sri Chaitanya, and to give facility to everyone to become trained in the modes of archan or preparatory principles of devotional service. J, to introduce to the members of the society and humanity at large a similar and more natural process in life by means suitable to the particular place and time as enjoined in the Bhagavad Gita. K, to organize educational programs such as classes and lecture tours. Yes. And to institute services such as mailing for the benefit of the members of the society and humanity at large. We are doing that here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, especially Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. His prolific mailing is ongoing. It's amazing. To publish periodicals, books, or pamphlets in all important languages, in order to reach human society and give an opportunity to communicate with the society. M, to invoke the quality of goodness, particularly in every member of the society, individually by the process of diksha. Diksha, by a bona fide spiritual master, and by establishing one in the status of a Brahmin, good and intelligent man, on the basis of truthfulness, knowledge, and faith in the transcendental service of the Lord. N, among the secondary objectives of the society, it shall undertake the following activities. 1, to revive the scientific system of social orders of classification based on intelligence, marital spirit, productivity, and common assistance, generally known as the 4 castes, with reference to quality and worth for the common cause of world activity. 2, to discharge as a matter of course the vitiated system of supremacy of one man over another by false prestige of birthright or vested interests. 3, to popularize the vegetable grain diet under approved methods in order that full value of protein, carbohydrate, fat, and vitamin benefit may be derived therefrom. And 4, to discourage intoxicating or addicting habits of all descriptions and dimensions, and to expose such persons thus afflicted to approved methods of spiritual realization. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Ācārya. And then he has the few names there, Raymond and Michael, Robert, and James, I see, Green. Very, very deep philosophy here, setting out the rules of conduct for his society and all of its members, which we are still a part of that mission. It hasn't gone away. Even though some time has passed, hardly any time has passed. And Prabhupada is still present with us, everyone, in his Vani incarnation. So let us move forward with the bhajan, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, and then we'll have the reading and discussion with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and the Sankirtan mission.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amaspa Paramahansa Parivrajaga-Acārya Sattva Small Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai, Ramacārya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giridhar ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Navadvip Dham ki Jai, Ganga Mai ki Jai, Jamuna Mai ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki Jai. All glories to their Supreme. All glories to their Supreme. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Naram Cheva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I do offer my respectful obeisances unto you. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, two, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supremmost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and four, to Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. So welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We will be reading a few verses from the first canto, second chapter, about the benefit of hearing the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 1-16. Shushrushoho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syanmahat Sevaya Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Text 17. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana ridyantasto yabhadrani vidhunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text 18. Nashta prayeshu vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text 19. Tadarajastamo bhavaha kamalobha dayaschaye chetaye terana viddam sitvam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time, the effect of the natures, motive, passion, and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. So welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We are reading from the original 1962 version. That is the first version that Prabhupada translated. It was done in Vrindavan and published in New Delhi, India. Today we'll be reading from text number 19 and 20 forward. Yet number 20? Okay. All translations, English synonyms, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness movement. Avatari Shodashame Pasyan Brahma Druha Nirpan Trisaptakrit Tvakupitoho Nikshatriyam Makarot Makim. Avatari, in the incarnation of the Lord, Shodashame, 16th, Pashyan, seeing, Brahmadruha, disobedient to the orders of the Brahmins. Nripan, the kingly order. Trisapta, thrice 7 times. Kritva, had done. Kupito, being enraged. Nihi, negation. Kshatriyam, the administrative class. Akarot, did perform. Mahim, the earth. Translation. In the 16th order of the incarnation of Godhead, Bhrigupati, the Lord, for 21 times made completely negation of the administrative class of men, being angry on them on account of their rebellion against the order of the Brahmins, the intelligent class of men. Purport. The Kshatriyas, or the administrative class of men, are expected to rule the planet by the direction of the intelligent class of men. The Brahmins, being the intelligent class of men, they give direction to the rulers in terms of the standard Shastras, or the books of revealed knowledge, and rulers carry out the administration according to that direction. Whenever there is disobedience on the part of the Kshatriyas, or the administrative class, on the orders of the learned and intelligent Brahmins, the administrators are removed by force from the posts. An arrangement is made for better administration. Text number 21. Tata saptadasi jataha satyavatyam parasharat chakre vidatro shaka Drishtva pumsal pamade saha. Tataha, thereafter, Saptadashe, in the 17th order of incarnations, Jataha, advented, Satyavatyam, in the womb of Satyavati, Parasharat, by Parashara Muni, Chakre, prepared, Vedotaraha, besides the Vedas, Shaka, branches, Drishtva, by seeing, Pumsa, the people in general, Alpamedasaha, less intelligent. Thereafter, in the 17th order of the incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati by Parashara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing the people in general as less intelligent. Purport. Originally, the Veda is one, but Srila Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into four, namely Sama, Yaju, Rig, Atharva. And then again, they were explained in different branches, like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. Vedic language, as well as the subject matter, is very difficult for ordinary men. It is understood only by the highly intelligent, and is full of less intelligent men. Even those who are born by a Brahmin father are in the present age as good as the Shudras and the women. The twice-born men, namely the Brahmin, Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, are expected to undergo cultural purificatory process known as samskaras. But on account of bad influence of the present age, the so-called members of the Brahmin and other high-order family are no more highly cultured. They are called the Dvija Bandhu, or the friends and family members of the twice-born. But these Dvija Bandhus are classified amongst the Shudras and the women. Srila Vyasadeva divided the Veda in various branches and sub-branches on account of these less intelligent class of men, like the Dvija Bandhus, Shudras, and the women. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto our spiritual master, Śrīla Prabhupāda, who has opened our eyes from the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yache Punah Punah Srimad-Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Rup Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see that Sutta Goswami is continuing his description of the various incarnations. He's systematically going through all the major incarnations In text number 18, it described the incarnation of Lord Narasimha. In text number 19, the incarnation of Lord Vamana. It's very interesting that Rupa Goswami, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, has quoted this particular incident of the surrender of Bali Maharaj to Lord Vamanadev as an example of surrender, of perfect surrender to the personality of Godhead. That story is told later on in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Very nice story of the surrender of Bali Maharaj to Lord Vamanadev. He surrendered his whole kingdom, surrendered his life, surrendered his land, everything, for the satisfaction of Vishnu. And here we see in this text number 20, this Brigupati Rama. Brigupati Rama is Parashu Rama. Parashu means axe. It's a special kind of axe, a double-edged axe. The story was that the Kshatriyas rebelled against the advice and counsel of the Brahmanas. In the Vedic age, the Brahmanas were very powerful. They would give advice to the kings of how to rule the kingdom. What is the best way to care for the citizens, for the peace and prosperity of the kingdom? And occasionally, there were kings that did not behave properly, did not listen to the counsel and advice of the Brahmanas, and it became necessary to replace them. We have actually seen in this chapter how in this story of King Prithu, in text number 14, it is described, O the Brahmins, the ninth incarnation of the Lord was invented by him, being prayed for by the sages. He accepted the body of King Prithu, who cultivated the land by various produce, and for that reason the earth is so beautiful and attractive. Prabhupada explains in the purport, the intelligent class of men of the society, namely the sages and the Brahmins, not only prayed the Lord to come down, but also to dethrone the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus looking after the all-around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in the matter of discharging the king's duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone such worthless king. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duty for welfare of the public. Such intelligent class of men, instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. Real intelligent class of men or qualified Brahmins never aspire after political boast. Maharaj Prithu excavated many produce from the earth, and thus not only the citizens became happy to have such good king, but also the complete sight of the earth became beautiful and attractive. Now the significant point here, as the father of Maharaj Prithu, King Vena had become very inimical to the saintly class, to the sages and the Brahmins. So he was removed. Of course, in Kali Yuga, we have a situation, Prabhupada used to often quote, Kalo Shudra Sambhavaha, that in the age of Kali Yuga, everyone is born as a Shudra. This is from the Skanda Purana. Samskarat Bhavid Dvijaha. But one can become twice born or Brahmin by the process of samskara, reformatory ceremonies. One of these reformatory ceremonies is called Diksha, to become initiated by the bona fide spiritual master, to receive transcendental instructions from the authorized bona fide Acharya. Now, what happened with King Vena is that he rebelled against the Brahmins, and he stopped all fire sacrifices, all Samkirtan, all Vedic ceremonies, all offerings in the temples, and the Brahmanas became very disturbed. It disturbed the peace of the society. It disturbed the equilibrium of the society, so they removed him. So the question is, well, how did they remove him? Did they fight with him? No. They removed him by mantras. Previously, in previous ages, Brahmanas were very powerful. Simply by mantras, by chanting of Vedic mantras, they could remove. So they removed that king, and they placed Maharaj Prithu, his son, in his place. And Maharaj Prithu was the perfect example of a peaceful king, of a capable king, who basically encouraged transcendental varnashram and the system of growing food everywhere. This is very important. In the age of Kali Yuga, we see there are so many disturbances because of the increase in vikarmic activities. Vikarma means activities which are not according to the revealed scriptures, to the Vedas. Sinful activities, meat eating, illicit sex activities, gambling, intoxication of all sorts of sinful activities which degrade the human society. There are reasons why restrictions are there. In one lecture, Prabhupada said, the less restriction you accept, the more animalistic you become. The more restrictions you accept, the more divine you will become, the more transcendental you will become. In the Manu Samhita, it is described, Pravrittirisha bhutanam nivrittirtu mahafalam. This pravritti, this tendency for sense gratification, for sense enjoyment, is there with everyone. But nivrittirtu mahafalam, you get a much greater result by restriction. Why? Because the human being is not an animal. We're not monkeys. We're not pigeons. In Kali Yuga, it has become very normal in human society to engage in all kinds of crazy behaviors, illicit sexual behaviors, eating all kinds of nonsense, no restriction in the matter of marriage, so many crazy deviations. This is all vikarma. It produces a bad result. And one of these results is material nature restricts rain or will give too much rain in some places. In the United States, a little while ago, there was major floods in some parts in the eastern part of the country, southeastern part of the country, also northeastern part of the, so much water, too much water. In some other places, it's almost like a desert, extreme heat. Arizona, parts of California, parts of Texas, very, very hot. This is the result of vikarma, that material nature will restrict rain, and food grains will have difficulty being produced. This is why Maharaj Prithu is celebrated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as a perfect king. He was a perfect avatar, incarnation of Krishna, to show how human society should conduct themselves. Śrīla Prabhupāda so many times advised his disciples to follow proper principles. We were in Hawaii one time in 1974 in Honolulu, and Śrīla Prabhupada had heard that there had been some problems with one of his disciples, a leading disciple, some problem with some vikarmic activities. Prabhupada came to the airport and he gave a very strong lecture about the behavior of brahmacharis and sannyasis. And he instructed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be as soft as a rose or as strong as a thunderbolt. Prabhupada said, if you promise to follow these principles and you follow, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be very pleased upon you. But if you disobey these principles, he can also be as strong as a thunderbolt. After the lecture, when we went into the car, Śrīla Prabhupada at one point asked a question. We were seated in the back of the car with His Divine Grace in the middle. So Śrīla Prabhupada asked Guru Kripa Swami, why do you think I've been successful? So he said, well, you're a pure devotee, you're a Mahabhagavat, you're a Prabhupada says, no. Prabhupada says, I've been successful because I did not engage in illicit sex and breaking the principles like all these other swamis and bogus yogis. And Prabhupada put his hand up in the air. He said, I tell my disciples, one life, you chant 16 rounds, follow these principles, you'll go back to Godhead. But many do not listen. And Prabhupada put his hand up in the air and says, what can I do? I gave him the instruction, they do not follow. So it's important to listen to great sages and great acharyas like Śrīla Prabhupada. Very important. Why? Because that is the path of going back home, back to Godhead. Acharyavan Purusho Veda, in the Chandogya Upanishad, it is described that one should worship the Acharya. One should accept the bona fide Acharya, like Śrīla Prabhupada. One of the biggest problems that we are facing in Kali Yuga is the growth and proliferation of so many pseudo-acharyas, pseudo-gurus, so-called gurus and so-called acharyas, who become acharyas and gurus on their own authority. And the problem is they give conflicting instruction. Not only do they not behave themselves, but conflicting instruction in disobedience of the Acharya. Just like in the case of Maharaj Prithu, the sages and Brahmins disobeyed. Therefore, King Prithu came. The Acharya comes to reestablish the principles of Dharma, the proper path of transcendental knowledge. That is the position of the Acharya. That is the power of the Acharya. Because Krishna delegates, sometimes he sends his son or great prophets, or he comes himself, but many times he will send empowered representatives, Shakti Vishavatars, to distribute this knowledge, to reestablish the proper path. Why? That is Krishna's prerogative. He can send some Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated soul from the spiritual world to come here and give the message of Godhead. So here in this sacred Bhagavatam, we see that the Kshatriyas had become disobedient. I was just reading one lecture recently where Śrīla Prabhupada explained that Parashuram chastised the Kshatriyas and many of them migrated to Europe, Middle East, Egypt, other places. Prabhupada said, that is my opinion. That is the transcendental position of the Acharya. Recently, some archaeologists discovered a painting in Egypt. It was one of these deities of the Egyptians, where the deity had been covered with tilak. Every one of you have seen pictures of the Sri Vaishnavas. They have this big tilak with white, very large tilak with a red in the middle. That used to be the mark, the sacred marks of the Alvars, the great saints that came in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya before Ramanuja. So they discovered some Egyptian deity with tilak all over. That means that Vedic culture was already there in so many places. Also in Southeast Asia, there are so many deities of Ganesh, Shiva, Hanuman. So many deities are there in Cambodia, in Thailand, in Vietnam. One time we were in Japan, we visited a Buddhist temple. So we paid our respects to Lord Buddha. And Guru Kripa pointed out we were in a little shop where they were selling postcards. They had a postcard of Krishna playing on his flute. Some kind of a deity of Krishna, Japanese style of Krishna playing on his flute. So we asked them, what is this? Oh, that was one of the gods of the old Japanese system. Because Vedic culture was there all over the world previously. Now, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, things have diminished. But we see that Parashuram was very powerful. Incidentally, according to Vedic culture and the Vedas, there are certain personalities that live almost eternally. Vyasadeva, Hanuman, Vibhishana, Markandeya, and Parashuram is also living. He was there during the time of Lord Ramachandra, and he was there also during the time of Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata. So very powerful personality. He's still living near Orissa, the current boundary of Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. Very powerful personalities. They're called Chiranjeev. Chiranjeev means eternally living. So that is the prerogative of Krishna. He can empower certain personalities not to die, but to carry on Dharma. Vyasadeva is said to still be living in a cave in the Himalayas. There's also in South India a great rishi, Agastya Rishi, very powerful rishi. He was the author of a book called Agastya Samhita. He's also living in some mountain in South India, very deep in the jungle. Vibhishana, the brother of Ravana, is said to still be living. Hanuman is said to still be living. Of course, we may not have the power or the capacity or eligibility to meet such persons, but to know that they are there. We see in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in Canto 1, Chapter 17, Prabhupada is discussing the names of their various great personalities that came to witness the recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. There was a great saint named Atri Muni. And Prabhupada says in the purport, yeah, it said he's still living there in a place near Devaprayag. That's in the Himalayas. So there are great personalities still living, blessing this planet, blessing the holy place of Bharat Bhumi. But one of the greatest personalities in Vedic history, Śrīla Prabhupada, is also living. Are we willing to listen to him? Are we willing to conform to his Vani incarnation? Are we willing to live our lives according to his instruction, to his Vani? Just recently, my godbrother Vishwakarma Prabhu sent me an article about Śrīla Prabhupada and his Vani incarnation, which is a very nice explanation of how Śrīla Prabhupada is eternally present in his Vani. Now, some people have leveled the criticism that we are a bunch of Prabhupada fanatics. Well, let me tell something to these critics. I pray every single day that I may become a Prabhupada fanatic life after life. This particular article by Vishwakarma will be coming out in the upcoming Vyasa Puja booklet for the divine appearance of His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupāda which will be celebrated on September 8th. Incidentally, as part of this presentation, we humbly ask everybody on this call, everybody you know, to present offerings. You can send it to Venkata Prabhu, Vishwakarma Prabhu, or myself. Even if it's just offering obeisances, that is fine. Offer your symbol, homages, obeisances, and praise of Śrīla Prabhupada. Just last week, I was almost in tears. One of our very nice devotees, Dharma Bhavana Prabhu in Texas, who incidentally arranges very nice preaching programs, he sent a very nice Vyasa Puja offering. I was reading this and being very thankful to Śrīla Prabhupada, how in this life, somewhere or other, I came in contact with such a devotee with such deep, sincere feelings for Śrīla Prabhupada. I had the same realization when I got an offering from Vijay Pandit Prabhu from Italy. There are many devotees on this call, also in other places, although they may have never met Śrīla Prabhupada, but yet have got that strong transcendental connection with His divine grace, because they've understood He lives forever by His divine instructions, and the follower lives with Him. Very simple, not very complicated. When Bhaktivedanta Thakur, before he departed in 1914, he arranged for a nice plaque to be posted near the Samadhi of Haridas Thakur in Jagannath Puri. That is the famous statements that he wrote. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die. And he wrote a beautiful poem, beautiful verse. We are never supposed to think the Acharya is dead and gone. That is not the proper line of thinking. Śrīla Prabhupada, in 1975 in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, devotees were celebrating the appearance day of his Guru Maharaj. This was a beautiful lecture, which I encourage everybody to locate and read. Prabhupada in that lecture said, "It is not that he's dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. We have to learn the philosophy according to Śrīla Prabhupada, not according to some misguided, deviated so-called Brahmins, so-called caste Brahmins, so-called deviated mats, so-called neo-mats, so-called Sahajiyas. No, they are not our authorities. Śrīla Prabhupada is eternally our authority. He is the one who represents the bona fide tradition of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should pay attention and always connect with his teachings, connect with his lectures, hear his chanting, and in this way live with Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So profound, that explanation of these verses for everyone's benefit here at the class. And in the future, for other people that are interested in understanding the correct method for connecting with the disciplic succession coming from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because this is the basis of spiritual practice. You must have a bona fide spiritual master in order to connect yourself with Krishna. And unfortunately, there has been a lot of chaos that has appeared in Prabhupada's mission after his disappearance physically with us. And he predicted that this would happen. There would be chaos. Now, I never thought personally that it would be this chaotic. And for many years after his disappearance, that was not revealed to this fallen soul here, but by the grace of association of my God brothers, and especially my dear friend Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I can see the situation that has come about. And as we look at it day to day, by just seeing in a small way on social media, how much it's become more apparent to us that it's more of a revelation of the situation as opposed to a, let's say, a controversy. It's more of a revelation, and you see the problem in front of us as we study it, and then how to understand how to deal with it. And by Krishna's arrangement, things are unfolding before our very eyes in real time with all of us here. Even this development of this reading and discussion group with the help of all the God brothers here on this Zoom call. This is a manifestation of Krishna's intervention. Venkat Bhatta Prabhu. It's Krishna intervening. I can remember meeting Venkat Bhatta Prabhu. Was it about 10 months ago, Prabhu, that we met? How long ago was it? 10 months? I think so.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so when we met, I was listening to him what his experience was and what his skills were. And I called up Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, and I told him, I think we found a really expert person, because you need a team to be able to create situations like this. It's not just by chance. And I said to him, I think Krishna has sent us this very qualified person to help us. And step by step, we're evolving this process of hearing and chanting online for other people in a bona fide way, not in a distorted way, which can be the business of many people that are interested in profit, adoration, and distinction through the preaching of Krishna consciousness for their own personal benefits. I wanted to go back here to text 20 for everyone. It caught my attention because guidance is given to us in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That's what happens. So when you're reading, like we are in these classes, we all get mutual direction from the pages of the Bhagavatam. And so it says here in text 20, in the purport, at the end of the purport, in text 20, whenever there is disobedience on the part of the Kshatriyas, on the part of the Kshatriyas or the administrative class on the orders of the learned and intelligent Brahmins, the administrators are removed by force from the posts. An arrangement is made for better administration. So somehow or other, Prabhupada is speaking to us here, giving us some insight that the particular situation that's upon us is something that Krishna is monitoring. Krishna is watching what is going on. Prabhupada is watching. And before I give the discussion back to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, I want to mention that a situation has come up in Toronto, Canada here. A lawsuit for $750,000 being lodged by an individual that was banished from the temple for no good reason, possibly because they didn't want to accept initiation from a local so-called Acharya in the ISKCON group. And as a result, because of, she's a very sincere person from India. Actually, her parents are from Vrindavan. And for some reason or other, she was banished from the temple for, we're not sure what the reasons were. And all of a sudden, by the circumstances of our association with our God brothers and other people that are with us, her file has appeared on my desk. I didn't bring the file to my house, to our ashram. Someone sent it to me. And by looking at the file and seeing the situation, I see a parallel situation with a lot of people that have been in the ISKCON movement. There were thousands of us, and all of a sudden we've all been banished because we didn't agree with the position that some people have that were allowed to stay in the leadership or the posts. And the administrators are removed from by force from the posts. An arrangement is made for better administration. Who is the force? It is Krishna has a force that's playing in this field. And the lady that's bringing the lawsuit to us, she asked me that question. Well, I can't figure out how I ended up at your doorstep with this file. And I told her this frankly. I said, somehow or other, Krishna has made Radha, Kirchur, Gopinath, our deities, are surrounded by all kinds of deviants in this philosophy that Prabhupada, this mission that Prabhupada has given us. And for some reason, the deities have brought this forward in order to rectify the situation that is going on currently in the society. And so that is also our situation here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association. We, all of us, have a responsibility to work together to rectify the situation that is currently being carried on by a group of deviants that are now running the society and misdirecting innocent people in such a way that Krishna is not happy. That we know. Now, someone could say, how do you know? Well, this is something that we all do know, and we're doing something about it. And I want to thank all of the people here in this meeting today and the ongoing attendance with us in our sadhana program for taking up this mission with us at the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further advance this.
Hare Krishna. Very important points being raised. Very important points. I want to read from a lecture of Śrīla Prabhupāda. This is a lecture where he discusses about Lord Parashuram. This was given in Los Angeles, California on September 25, 1972. September 25th, 1972. It's a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class where Śrīla Prabhupada speaks very nicely about Lord Parashuram. Avatari Shodashame Pashyan Brahmadruho Nripan Trisapta Kritva Kupito Nikshatram Makaron Mahim. This is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.3.20. As Brigupati, the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord annihilated the administrative class or Kshatriyas 21 times being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas or the intelligent class. Prabhupada. So Keshavadrita Brigopati Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hari Kshatriya Rudira. What is that verse? Can anyone cite? Kshatriya Rudira Maya Jagadapagata Papam Snapayasi Payasa Samita Bhavatapam Keshavadrita Brigopati Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hari. So Brigopati, Brahmadruha, the administrative class, the politicians, they must obey the order of the Brahmanas. That is Vedic culture. Therefore, although there was monarchy, king, one king, no democracy, but because the king would follow the instruction of learned sages or in Brahmana, they would rule over the country very nicely. Take, for example, if your president takes our advice how to rule, then everything will be very nice. Of course, we shall immediately ask the president to stop the slaughterhouse, but it is very difficult, you see. Neither the president is ready. Even if he is ready, he cannot do. Everything is constitutional. So Brahmadruha, the society must be Brahmanic. Vedic culture means to create every person a Brahmana, not to keep him Shudra. Of course, in the modern educational system, the purpose is to elevate the general people, but they do not know how to elevate. Therefore, there is so much trouble. The elevation should be, there must be some purpose end. What purpose education is being given? It is purposeless education. Mostly at the present moment, education means to give facilities for sense gratification. That's all. Boys and girls in the school and colleges, just from the very beginning, they're giving all liberty for sex. So this is not education. Education means to lead the people gradually to Krishna consciousness. That is education, God consciousness. Because human life, this is the only life. There are 8,400,000 species of life. This human form of life is the only opportunity to understand God. Cats, dogs, even demigods, they also, because their opulence, sense gratification is so great that they have no time. Just like here in this world also. Those who are too rich, they're simply after sense gratification. They have no time to understand Krishna consciousness. So to become too materially opulent means that is another danger. Bhaktivedanta Thakur has said, therefore, Jada Vidya Jatu Mayara Vaibhava, the expansion of material advancement. Material advancement is expanding the sense gratificatory process. That is material. The more you expand how to satisfy your senses, that is material. And the more we expand how to satisfy Krishna, that is spiritual. That is the difference between material and spiritual. It does not mean that material stone, material and spiritual means it becomes zero. They are thinking like that. Shunyavadi. They think spiritual means just the opposite number of material. So material, we have got variegated experience, solid experience, so make it zero. That is not spiritual. That is simply negation. That philosophy is the Buddha philosophy, that you are suffering from some disease, painful. So I cut your throat, that's all. Everything finished. No more suffering, zero. Make it zero. No. The process should be, if you are diseased, if you are suffering, the suffering should be stopped. Not that to kill you, to stop the suffering. No. That is our philosophy. We are changing. Why one is suffering? He is suffering for indulging in sense gratification. We are educating people that you enjoy your senses through Krishna. Through Krishna. You like to dance? Yes, you dance through Krishna. You want to eat nice? You eat through Krishna. You want to sing? You sing through Krishna. You want to paint? You paint through Krishna. This is our education. not directly for my sense gratification. I want to paint nice pictures. So because I wanted my sense gratification, now painting has become several logs, especially in your country. What is that painting? That means the tendency towards making it zero, shunyavadi. We say, you have got taste for painting. You're a nice painter. Just paint Radha Krishna. You see how nice it is. So painting is not to be stopped. It is simply diverted for Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness movement. We don't want to kill, but we simply divert to Krishna. Purification, that is. If you don't divert your attention to Krishna, then more and more you will become sinful and everything will be polluted. And that was being observed formerly. As soon as there's some discrepancy in the Brahminical culture means the aim of advancement of civilization is spiritual realization, self-realization, Vishnu. Ultimately, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the prerogative. That is a special chance for the human being. This chance is not for any other living being. So for this purpose, there are so many rules and regulations. Manu Samhita, the social system, the political system, the spiritual system, so many things. Everything chalked with an aim, how to understand Brahman. Brahmana janati iti brahmanaha. As soon as one understands what is Brahman, Parabrahman Krishna. Krishna is Parabrahman, then his life is perfect. That was the aim. So actually the administrators, the Brahmana sages, they gave their verdict, my dear king, you rule over the country in this fashion. People will be happy. So when the kings became sensuous, they taught that the kingdom is their father's property. They haven't got to do anything with the people. They can employ the taxes for sense gratification, as it is going on now. Whatever taxes are levied, they are divided amongst the government servant, that's all. You don't get any benefit, you are simply paid to pay tax. That's all. You don't get any benefit. That is everywhere, the modern government. So such thing happens because this material world is such that even if you make very nice arrangement, it will deteriorate. The time factor. So sometimes when it happens so that the administrators, Nripan, the kings, were neglectful in their proper duty, so it was so much aggravated at that time, Janmadagni, Brigupati, he took the matter, took his sword. He was a Brahmana, but to chastise his responsible king, he killed them. Killed them 7 into 3 times, 21 times. And from history it appears that many of the Kshatriyas, they left India and they came to this part of the world. So far my guess is concerned, you Europeans, Americans, you belong to that Kshatriya family descendant. But because you were separated from the Vedic culture, now you have become different. Now again, that Vedic culture has come to your service. Take advantage of it, you see. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I see that Vijay Pandit Prabhu has got his hand up for a question. Or maybe his wife has a question.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, Hare Krishna. Actually, I have a question for a friend of mine, and that is, he is a devotee who makes agriculture since mostly 30 years already, and he want to make a question, and he asked me to do it to you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. So I wrote this question. I will read. So he's asking, his name is Gunagrai Prabhu, and he's asking, I want to know if it is true that Śrīla Prabhupada said, as they say, that he did 50% of his work and we were supposed to do the remaining 50%, and the remaining would be to realize the Varnashram. It's a question. what did he mean by realizing the Varnashram? And how come, if it is 50% of his work, which is therefore very important, no one is realizing it? Rather, all devotees are increasingly trying to integrate themselves into the society of materialists instead of creating a parallel society? This is the question.
In August of 1977, in the middle of the month, Śrīla Prabhupada called the late secretary and myself to his room. At night, he rang his bell, and his servant came to get us. So we went to Śrīla Prabhupada's room, and he explained to us, I've done 50% of my work with the writing of my books. The other 50% is the introduction of Varnashram Dharma. Prabhupada said, if you take me to Gita Nagari in America, I will show you. Prabhupada further elaborated, says Varnashram is self-sufficient farms where we can grow our own food, engage in Krishna conscious activities, protect the cows, and in this way engage everybody. Of course, Prabhupada still wanted the distribution of his books and other activities, but this program of emphasizing Varnashram Dharma, self-sufficient farms, was unfortunately neglected after his departure in 1977. It's never too late. Anyone can do that. Anyone can do in any part of the world, somewhere better get some land. I've even told devotees, if somebody say, well, I don't have land, I live in the city, well, get a couple of pots and grow some mint, grow some potatoes, grow some tomatoes, start something. I mean, Prabhupada's idea was that we should not be dependent about modern materialistic civilization. This idea that devotees should work hard all day and run around, this is not Prabhupada's plan. Prabhupada's plan was that the preaching should go on, but that the devotees should develop these self-sufficient farms. So yes, that devotee is correct. That was Prabhupada's plan. That was Prabhupada's idea. And there are many references to that in Śrīla Prabhupada's books. There's a devotee in Australia named Gopinath-Acharya Prabhu who compiled inches thick, which has got all of Prabhupada's conversations, all of Prabhupada's references and citations from his books about growing food, Varnashram, division of society, and everything. Prabhupada wanted to establish a Varnashram college where different devotees would be trained according to their propensities in different duties, but again, the movement was divided, was misled with this bogus propaganda of successor acharyas and appointed acharyas, which is complete nonsense. Prabhupada wanted the establishment of Varnashram. That was a primary directive from him. Establishment of a Varnashram college, that was a primary directive from him. Protecting the children, educating the children, that was another primary directive that had been neglected. So these instructions are still valuable, they're still there, and you can't tell your friend that he should be happy and satisfied that he's following Prabhupada's instructions. Just continue to do it and involve other devotees to do it too. I know that in your place in Dueville, Italy, you're growing some food with your wife. You're doing, it's maybe on a small scale, but this is what Prabhupada wanted. So this is very important. Continue to do that. Yes.
Okay, we have another person here, Yaśodā. He's your aspiring servant. Has his hand up.
Okay.
Prabhu, where are you, aspiring servant? Whereabouts are you located?
Right now, I'm at the Bangalore Temple in Massachusetts, Worcester.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Bangalore Temple, what is that?
That's a subsidiary of the
ISKCON Bangalore, okay.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu, go ahead with your question.
I just wanted to say that I have a farm down in Florida, 41 acres, and that we're trying to do Varnashram. We have 2 families moving on to the land, and we're going to be trying to grow food. So it takes a lot of work, need a lot of capital and, manpower. But if any devotees ever want to come, everyone is invited, is welcome to stay. I'm trying to set it up like what Śrīla Prabhupada wanted: spiritual communism and spiritual capitalism combined. Everyone should have the incentive, to take the initiative. Yeah, everyone should be harmonious to live together. So yeah, I mean, I've had it for about a year. I'm going to inherit this farm, but it certainly takes a lot of bhakti to make something of it. So if anyone has any ideas or instructions, I'm always willing to hear. And Vishwakarma Prabhu and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, you're always invited if you ever want to stay. I know for everyone who comes, I'm not going to be charging rent. And essentially, it's going to be whatever anyone produces. They can keep 75% of it and 25% tax that goes back into the system. So that's how I set it up.
Okay, excellent. I think we've spoken, Prabhu, before on the phone.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to share this with everyone because of our work with Bhaktivedanta Singh in Sacramento as well. That leadership is an issue in running any organization. If you don't have good leadership, then it's hard for it to flourish or develop. And the responsibility of a leader in the Krishna Consciousness system that Prabhupada set up entails the appointment of a temple president. That was how Prabhupada established his movement, through temple presidents who would be autonomous individuals who would work to develop the preaching work in their individual areas. And just like Prabhupada was expert on many levels, Prabhu, it is necessary for the leader of that group to be knowledgeable in the philosophy, very knowledgeable. They have to study carefully the books. They have to study the instructions, just like here in our classes. You're getting a wealth of information from this group that you can take and utilize where you're going to develop your program. Not only should you be knowledgeable, you have to learn how to cook, how to become an expert in the kitchen like Prabhupada was. And then by cooking beautiful prasadam and learning how to offer it properly, you can bless people with the distribution of prasadam, like we're reading in the original early days of Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada would be in the kitchen cooking prasadam, and the devotees, he would encourage them in the early days, eat more, have more chapatis, take more sabji, take more rice. We weren't familiar with this, but Prabhupada introduced that system. Along with that, you have to be expert in leading in the chanting. You may not be an expert musician, but you should know how to lead kirtan, or have someone in your group that can lead according to Prabhupada's direction. So look at this situation of leadership in ISKCON, that the members of this movement should become trained how to chant, how to cook, how to administrate, how to handle money. Prabhupada was managing very expertly the use of money. So like that, the temple presidents were also trained up like that. How to accumulate money, how to invest it properly, how to bring things. So it takes leadership, brother. That leadership comes from you. And, if you need any help in these matters, we have a Brahminical council. of devotees, because we are an organization. This isn't just a hit and miss type of thing. This whole unfolding of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, of the Hare Krishna Society, how we're, for example, someone could say to us, oh, well, look at your classes. Well, if you look at this production, it's not just something we made up. It's something that's unfolded with the use of teams. And these teams were expert. See how Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu brings up all of the dialogues on the screen. Does it look like it's just happening by chance? No, nothing is by chance here. It's planned, it's organized. So in the same way, you're doing a good job. We're very proud of you that you've got this motive. So just take good association. Learn how to become a leader, Prabhu. That's your job. Now you have your hand up. Go ahead. Ask the next question.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for hosting these classes. I'm sorry I haven't really been attending much, due to my own personal limitations and obstacles. But I'm trying to develop more leadership skills. I was there at the farm for a month this summer, and it's very austere because it's Florida in the summer, so it's very hot. It's a lot of obstacles. I wish I could do so much more. Next month I'm going to Germany.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Okay, so you've got a lot of time by Krishna's grace, hopefully. So just begin to build your skills. What do you think? Do you think that somebody can join the NBA automatically? They join and they get a big contract and all of a sudden they become a star? No, they have to go through a lot of training, a lot of association, a lot of coaching. And then by doing that, they gradually come. So thank you for coming to these classes, because it will give you tremendous insight into how Prabhupada was thinking by the association of his real disciples, which are the members of this association, Prabhupada Disciples Association. Yaśodā, please, if you could further comment.
I think this is a very important point. This devotee basically is at the forefront of the future of the movement. Prabhupada wanted this system of Varnashram to be introduced, to be implemented. And anybody who has some land or some connection with devotees who have some land can move forward. And this way, we can fulfill Prabhupada's desires. Everybody on this call can support this effort. Either it's supporting cow protection, supporting Varnashram projects, and anything. Prabhu, you mentioned one thing, that you're going to inherit the property. Who owns the property now?
My father. My father bought
okay.
it out. Yeah, so.
It's in Alachua, Florida?
No, sir. It's in the Panhandle. It's a couple miles.
Panhandle means where?
It's a couple miles south of Alabama.
Okay.
So it's in between Pensacola and Tallahassee.
Okay, I know where that is. Yeah.
It's about 20 miles north of I-10.
Do you have water on that land?
Yes, sir. We have well water. We have a half an acre pond. There's a creek nearby.
Wow.
There's also Ponce de Leon Springs, Panchatattva Springs, about 20 minutes away, which is very nice. It's always 68 degrees in the water year round. It's very sparsely populated area. It's mostly cattle rancher neighbors that are generally nice. So been cultivating that. I mean, I should be there. It's just I have a lot of health issues, which I'm trying to figure out. That's just my major limitation right now. It's just health problems. I just had like another concussion 2 weeks ago because I was in a car accident. So I'm just trying to find leaders who can at least grow food, farm managers. I'm not necessarily Farmer Brown with a green thumb myself. So, but many people find that very limiting, because there's the whole economic aspect, which, how am I going to pay this, pay that? I mean, there's a lot of variables involved, and the people I'm friends with generally are poor. They don't have really much capital even to start off with, even get like a cabin or, a shed to live in. Plus my focus, I mean, I've had this farm for, have had this opportunity for about over a year now. My focus for the past 5 years has always been book distribution. So generally for the past 5 years, I've been distributing Śrīla Prabhupāda's original books. So I see my part in trying to get as many people there as possible. But then there's the whole other factor of the whole how devotees interact, because generally there tends to be quarrel. Oh, this person said that. My ego is offended, and I already did face that. I had another devotee I brought down there, and I mean, egos can easily get offended. So it's, just trying to think, what would Prabhupada do? I mean, I know if you follow Śrīla Prabhupāda's instructions as it is, then all the Shakti will come. You just have to follow sincerely, and everything, he'll take care of everything else. So, and also we have Śrīla Prabhupāda's life-size Murti. He's at my friend's house in Alachua. We need to make it nice. So install Śrīla Prabhupāda's Murti. So.
Okay, excellent. Well, you're moving ahead, and it's very informative. I think for our group to hear your intentions and your desires to serve Prabhupada and use what facility you have in the service of the Sankirtan movement. So this is greatly appreciated, and we'll move forward with that, this program that you have on our group. And by Krishna's mercy, it'll flourish under your leadership. So congratulations. And we're at the end of our class period. I saw there was some kind of interesting comment by a lady devotee there. She wants to see our qualifications. So if she wants to be in touch with us by email or WhatsApp, she can get our information. We'd happy to discuss with her who we are and what we're doing. Absolutely. And our past and present qualifications. So I wanted to bring up our Vyas Puja offering book as our next project in the forefront of our mission. And if Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu can please bring up the front cover for us. I wanted everyone to see the cover. Here it is here. So that is our book for 2023. And we are inviting everyone to make an offering to be included in this booklet. It'll be released on Amazon in their virtual book distribution that we're going to be using. And there'll be introductory articles in the Vyas Puja book by a variety of Prabhupada disciples. And along with that, there'll be a list of all the people that make an offering. Alphabetically, we'll place your offering in this book. And it's important that if you're aspiring as a Prabhupada disciple, to make this offering so that other people will see that we're all gathered together as a team, pushing this principle that Prabhupada is still living with us in his Vani incarnation, and we're following his mission in that way without any mental concoction. So Vyas Puja offering of 2023 is something we need people to submit offerings for. We don't, and we hope that you will do that. And you can contact us through the different mediums. Venkat Prabhu, could you put up the, I think you have the slide of our email addresses and contact information. Do you have that by chance?
Oh, yeah, let me just check.
Yeah, he can just go to that, and then you can see the contact people. And then I know it's a little bit awkward because we're in social media and we're on this internet highway. And sometimes it becomes difficult for everyone to get all the information from each other. And we're working towards coordinating that moving forward so that it's more easily available. But here we have some of the contact information. So there's, there we have the information. So you can reach us this way by email, and we're also available on WhatsApp. We have our phone numbers there, and we're available on Facebook. You can get our information from Facebook. And I think recently I had joined Telegram. So if you look around, you might be able to see our names there. But at any rate, make an effort to try to connect with us, and we'll try to answer any questions or help you in whatever way we can. So Venkat Prabhu, let's move forward with the whatever kirtan you've selected. I do appreciate the variety of items that we're bringing forth in our programs. So I leave it up to our production manager, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, to surprise us with the kirtan, and please chant along. And by the way, I wanted to mention just quickly, during the classes, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu is chanting these verses at the beginning of the classes. Please chant along with them. That's the system. And chant along and be a participant in the program in your own particular location.
So Yaśodā-nandana recita i mantra come tutte le lezioni.
Yeah, get the maximum benefit. Let's bring forward the chant, whatever surprise you have for us, Venkat.
I don't have anything new, just the
okay.
The old.
That's fine. Yesterday we had Vishnu John. It was beautiful.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.